Good morning everyone, this time we'll be taking a look at something a little odd. A weapon that's technically melee based, but can also be argued to be ranged, or even summoning I suppose. Hell, why don't we just say it's magic as well, no other evidence than just cuz. This time we'll be going over the Scourge of the Corruptor from Terraria. The Scourge of the Corruptor is a javelin that is tipped with what appears to be an eater of souls, with the blade either protruding from its mouth or just simply strapped behind it. It can be tossed at enemies as any usual javelin would, however upon impact the tip will burst into several miniature creatures termed tiny eaters that will seek out and harm any enemies in range. The tiny eaters are capable of fighting several times before eventually being killed or simply flying away. First we must address the nomenclature at use for this weapon, as it's been noted that the term scourge is typically reserved for use when referring to a whip, which this weapon is clearly not. It is much more likely though that it bears this name in reference to its ability to instill great suffering rather than its literal objective meaning. Found exclusively within corruption chests, located in the dungeon, the Scourge of the Corruptor is relatively unique in that it's not just a relatively powerful weapon, but it may also reveal a previously unknown stage in the life cycle of corruption fauna. As it stands, we can see that most creatures, native to the corruption, share some sort of a lineage, with primarily their mouth parts and multiple eyes being a common occurrence between species. However, when looking at the airborne variations in particular, a definite life cycle can be ascertained. We can see that what are generally referred to as Eater of Souls come in three different size variants: Little Eater, Eater of Souls, and Big Eater. While these all behave in a highly similar fashion and can be said to be, in general, the adult stage of a life cycle, ranging from adolescence through young adult to middle age, the Corruptors are likely to be the geriatric variant of the Eater, able to utilise a projectile attack known as Vile Spit, which could be the result of its innards beginning to break down as a side effect of old age. The tiny eaters that originate from the spear tip, dubbed Eater's Bite, may be the infant variant of this life cycle, and furthermore the Eater's Bite in itself may in fact be an egg of sorts, laid by the aging corruptors, as the name suggests. This would mean that persons unknown were able to uncover nests belonging to Eater of Souls, which were until this point not known to exist, and successfully steal a number of eggs before weaponizing them by strapping them to common spears. While it is difficult to speculate who may have created such weapons, it is safe to say that they knew a large amount about the corruption and its creatures, much more than any modern Terrarians seem to. It is possible then that they spent a large amount of time observing the creatures before attempting to raid their nests, which means that they were able to successfully avoid serious attack for a prolonged amount of time. Furthermore, the creators of these spears clearly had access to the dungeon in order to lock away the weapons in the chests they were found. Judging by the age of the dungeon, and the fact that the weapons seem to be all but forgotten about, it may be that the identity of those who had intended to wield them may have been lost to the annals of time. Although the Scourge of the Corruptor is a fascinating piece, able to tell us all sorts about the biosphere of the corruption, and even a tribe of people who may once have been able to successfully live in their corruption and exploit it for their own needs, the weapon itself is just a moderately powerful javelin with an interesting gimmick. Because of this, the Scourge of the Corruption has been assigned an artifact rating of noteworthy. So the investigation of this item didn't exactly merit much further research into the javelin itself. However, there has been quite a lot of interest in the continued study of the corruption, with many up until this point thinking it was a pretty straightforward place. Then there is the talk of the lost tribe of the corruption, which has a bunch of theorists' heads spinning. I can tell you, if you like it, one might even go through an idea they've had with you at some point. Until then, be sure to subscribe for more course content, become a patron or channel member for early access to my other course, and share the lecture series with all of your friends, because it's just that much fun. Make sure you have a fantastic week, and I will see you next time.